They weren't just engines, they were mechanical monsters, machines so oversized that they bent the rules of what a car could be. See, some was built for brutal tire shredding torque, while others was on a level of smooth, silent power that was almost spooky. See, these engines was not built for efficiency, they was built to shock the world. Alright, so today we're counting on the 10 largest engines ever put in a factory production car. And we're basing this purely on colossal displacement. See, from legendary American big blocks to a machine so absurd, it makes an aircraft engine looks like a small. Check it out, yo. Buckle up. Alright, kicking off our list, guys, is an engine that is a true legend. The dependable bruiser of the muscle car world, the Chevrolet 454 big block. Displacing a formidable 7.4 liters, this V8 was the heart of some of the most iconic cars we had from the 70s. See, for a while the phrase big block Chevy it became shorthand for American horsepower. Alright, so you'll find this beast in everything from the Chevelle SS and the Corvette to heavy duty trucks. See, the 454 was Chevy's answer to the displacement wars that was raging in Detroit. A declaration that there was no replacement for displacement. I mean, sure, the later versions got choked by emissions laws, but enthusiasts never forgot its glory days. The 454 remains a celebrated piece of engineering, a reminder of the time when gas was cheap, and that roar of that big block was a song of freedom. Alright, and coming in at number 9, guys, we have an engine that was all about effortless tire shredding torque. This is the Buick 455. With a displacement of about 7.5 liters, this was Buick's secret weapon in the golden age of muscle. While other brands was chasing high revving horsepower, you see, the Buick, well, they took a different route, y'all. They focused more on creating a power plant that delivered a mountain of torque right off idle. The Buick 455 was a masterpiece of low-end grunt, with the legendary GS Stage 1 variant, which produced a massive 510 pound-feet of torque right from the factory. Yo, this engine wasn't about just screaming at the red line, it was about that sheer, undeniable force that pressed you into your seat the moment you press on the throttle. See, this was a gentleman's muscle car engine. It was smooth, powerful, and utterly dominant. And if the Buick's 7.5 liters wasn't big enough for you, Ford had an answer, y'all. At number 8 is the Ford 460 V8. Sharing that 7.5 liter displacement, this engine was the cornerstone of Ford's big block family. This was introduced back in 1968. The 460 was designed for one thing: to move big, heavy vehicles with authority. Alright, so you can find this powerhouse under the hoods from everything from the luxurious Lincoln Continental Mark III to Ford's full-size cars, and most famously, its workhorse trucks. See, the 460 was renowned for its durability and immense torque, making it a favorite for towing and hauling for decades. See, it represents the peak of Ford's big block V8 development for passenger cars, and it's a testament to an era of engineering bravado. Alright, so jumping from the classic American iron to a modern engineering marvel, our number 7 spot goes to the Bugatti W16. See, displacing a massive 8.0 liters, this is not your typical engine, y'all. This is a quad, turbocharged, 16-cylinder behemoth that has powered some of the fastest cars that we have in production history, including the Veyron and the Chiron. Alright, first unleashed in 2005, the W16 was a statement. See, with power figures starting from anywhere from 1,000 and climbing all the way to 1,500, it's completely redefined what was possible for a road car. Created by joining 2 V8s as a crankshaft, the complexity is as staggering as its output. See, the W16 stands as a monument to modern hyper-engineering, proving that even in the 21st century, the spirit of building gigantic, awe-inspiring engines is still alive and well. Now we turn back the clock to the golden age of luxury. At number 6 is an engine that was way ahead of its time, the Marmon V16. Also displacing 8.0 liters or 491 cubic inches, this thing was an absolute masterpiece of the 1930s. See, While Cadillac might have been the first to market a V16, many argue that the Marmon was by far the superior design. Alright, introduced in 1931, the Marmon V16 was an all-aluminum design. It was a huge deal for that era, which made it way lighter than its cast iron competitors. Also, it produced a remarkable 200 horsepower, which is a phenomenal figure that allowed the elegant Marmon 16 to outperform nearly every other car on the road. Alright, so the tragedy here is that it was launched at the height of the Great Depression and fewer than 400 were ever built. It remains a legend and an example of what happens when you put engineering ambition and that meets artistic design. Alright, at number 5 we find the last of a legendary line, the GM Vortec 8100. See, displacing 8.1 liters, this was GM's final production big block V8 for its light duty lineup, or for light duty trucks and SUVs. While it never powered a muscle car, this engine was a gasoline-powered heart of GM heavy-duty lineup from 2001 to 2009. Alright, you can find the Vortec 8100 in vehicles like the Chevrolet Silverado HD and the Suburban 2500. See, it was a modern evolution of the iconic 454 big block, built for one purpose, to generate massive low-end torque for towing and hauling. With over 450 pound-feet of torque on tap, it was a worthy successor to its legendary ancestors and a final salute to the big block before the focus shifted to smaller engines. If Chevy's 454 was big, Cadillac looked at that and said, yo, hold my champagne. In 1970, they rolled out the 500 cubic inch V8 that was 8.2 liters, making it the largest displacement engine ever put in a production American passenger vehicle. But guys, this engine was not built for the drag strip. It was built for luxury. See, its purpose was to move the enormous Cadillac Eldorado with the quiet, effortless authority befitting of the brand. See, in the first year, it was rated at 400 horsepower and a staggering 550 pounds-feet of torque. But the brilliance of the 500 was how smooth and quiet it was. It was the ultimate expression of Detroit's bigger is better philosophy. And it was at a time when automakers weren't afraid to go over the top just to prove that they could. Alright, and so breaking the V8 dominance is the venomous heart of an American supercar. At number 3 is the 8.4 liter V10 from the Dodge Viper. For years, the Viper was known for its monstrous engine, but the final generation, y'all, took it to a new level. See, holding the record for the largest displacement engine to be ever placed in a modern American production car. With no turbos and no superchargers, the Viper V10 relied on pure size to generate its incredible power, up to 645 horsepower, y'all. And it was a raw, unfiltered power plant in a car that demanded respect. See, the Viper's V10 is a modern legend, a defiant roar against the trend of downsizing. And it was a reminder that sometimes there is really no substitute for cubic inches. Alright, if the last engine was impressive, prepare to be shocked. Our number 2 engine is from a luxury car built in 1927. This is the engine from the Bugatti Type 41, better known as the Royale, and it displaces an unbelievable 12.8 liters. Alright, this gigantic straight 8 engine was originally based on an aircraft engine design. See, it was nearly 5 feet long and produced an estimated 300 horsepower, a colossal figure for the 1920s. And the Royale itself was one of the largest and most opulent cars ever created, intended for kings. See, only 7 was ever made. This engine wasn't just big, it was a statement of ultimate luxury and engineering dominance that has rarely ever been matched since. Alright, and now the moment you've been waiting for. The number 1 largest engine ever put in a factory-built car is a machine of such absurd proportions, it almost defies belief. Meet the power plant of the 1910 Fiat S76, nicknamed the Beast of Turin. This engine displaces an astronomical 28.5 liters. Alright y'all, so let that sink in. 28.5 liters from just 4 cylinders. See, each cylinder in this engine is larger than the entire V10 in the Dodge Viper that we just spoke about earlier, y'all. See, it was a land speed record weapon built for one single purpose, to be the fastest thing on earth. It produced around 290 horsepower, but the staggering figure was its torque, which was estimated to be an earth-shattering 2,000 pounds-feet. Now, you could argue whether this car is a production car because only 2 was ever made, but the Fiat built it, and the engine was too amazing for me to ignore it. See, and it's likely it will forever be and remain one of the most massive engines ever bolted in an automobile. From the bellowing American V8s that defined a generation to the hyper-engineered marvels of today and the historical behemoths that shattered records, these engines represent an era of excess engineering bravado and the pursuit of power at any cost. See, these are the legends that was forged in iron and steel, reminders that a time when bigger was undeniably better. Alright, so guys, what's your pick? Which one of these mechanical monsters do you think deserves the crown? Let us know which one you'll take home in the comments below. And if you enjoy a celebration of raw, untamed power, don't forget to hit that like button and share this video with your friends, y'all, and fellow enthusiasts. And subscribe for more if you like deep dives into the automotive history. Thanks for watching. Peace.